So where do the Buffalo Bills go from here, ladies and gentlemen? As many of you are well aware, yesterday during practice on 11 on 11s, Tre'Davious White was carted off of the field for the most part. He got up, he started hobbling, walked very slow back to the locker room. And then, based off of reports, it sounds like that the cart was involved. And unfortunately, that is just an image that Bills fans are all too familiar with. During his time in Buffalo, that guy could not catch a break when it came into injuries. Now, while we're still patiently waiting for an update on this, I got to tell you what, I think that we can all but accept more than likely he is not going to be available for, at the very least, week one. Let's hope it's a rolled ankle. I was hoping that I can get my buddy Thigh Doctor on the show so that he could maybe attempt to sit there and give us an analysis, although that there wasn't any video. It was just a report from some of the beat reporters that were there during practice. But, I mean, now we need to figure out answers, right? Who particularly is going to be CB2 for the Buffalo Bills on week one versus the Baltimore Ravens? I have a couple of options. I have a couple of moves that Buffalo could potentially make, and I'm very excited to unpack all of this with you today. If you are new, my name is Dan Mitchell. I am the largest Buffalo Bills creator on the internet with all platforms combined. And I want to continue to grow my family over here because what we like to do is we like to include everybody in the live chat as a part of the conversation. That is something I always try and make that implementation, if you will. So as you're coming in, guys, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up sign. It's the easiest way to show love over here on the Don Mafia channel. And roll call in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. What corner of the United States, what corner of the globe are you rocking in as we get into the saucy-ass topic of today? What is the Buffalo Bills? What are the Buffalo Bills going to be doing about the Tre'Davious White issue? As always, I need to give a giant shout out to our good friends, William Matar. Folks, if you are ever hurt in a car, you already know who you have to call. And that just so happens to be William Matar, the #1 car accident attorney in the state of New York. I would not wish a car accident on anybody, but say, for example, that it does happen to you, it is imperative to ensure that you have the right guy in your corner. Shout out to William Matar for being a proud partner of today's channel. And just make sure you memorize that damn number. Shout out to William Matar, man. Let's go ahead and start talking a little bit about Tre'Davious White. All right, what's that roll call situation looking like? Here it is. Let's go ahead and pull this bad boy up. Let's do this. All right, folks, guys, like I said, hit that thumbs up sign. Let's lock in. We should have expected White to not be healthy a whole season. You know what? Like, maybe it was a sense of delusion on my end. I was optimistic that he somehow stayed healthy all last season when he started off with the Rams and finished off with the Baltimore Ravens. Again, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that it is just a rolled ankle. Maybe he will be available by week one, or maybe he misses a couple of weeks, or hell, maybe it's more serious than we thought and his career is over and Buffalo needs to go back to the drawing board of who is going to be starting at the position against the Baltimore Ravens on week one. All right, let's see. We have St. Cloud, Florida is tuning in on today's chat, man. I absolutely love that. Baltimore, go Bills is in the building. Mike check. I hope all is well with you. Kentucky is in the building. Singapore, which is always the craziest thing. I love to see that. I love to see that. And then Sean says that he has one specific person that I totally would wish a car accident on. Touche, my friend. Touche. You and I are on the same page there. Guys, do me a favor. Roll call in the chat. Do not be shy. That is including all of the lurkers, all of you that are working, all of you that maybe just tune in and don't engage in the live chat. I'm not going to force you to be social, but at least tell me where you're tuning in from, man. That's always interesting. We have Jonesboro, Arkansas is in the building. Make sure you fill up Bob before slapping him. Relax, bro. Relax, dude. You guys are not letting me get away with this. 302 Delaware is in the building. Josh Allen MVP. I already had doubts about our secondary, but this just makes it significantly worse. Indeed. Ingram did decent when he had to start versus Miami. We are going to be looking at all of the possibilities of who precisely we could see lock on in. We have DF Revers in the building. Bay Area. Up, dude. How about my boys over at Hashtag Sports? It's been a while. Mario, I hope all is well with you, my friend. It's great to see you. Okay, hear me out. They've surrendered 30 points per game. So what's the real problem here? What is the real problem here, man? That is the question. That is the question. I would love to chop it up with you one of these days, man. It's been a little bit. So I know that work's probably right around the corner, Mario, but we're going to have to go on ahead and get you locked and loaded back on the show to chop it up a little bit about ball. So here's my understanding about everything. And of course, I reserve the right to be corrected. And I reserve the right to be proven wrong. That's why the good Lord makes us play the football games. Am I right? But all I can do is give a theory. And my theory is this. Very oftentimes, I have seen average to above average secondaries elevated by quality of pass rush in getting to the quarterback. So very oftentimes, as elite of a secondary as you can have, if, for example, we're seeing a quarterback, like run around for 5 to 6 seconds, I can guarantee you that one of your weapons is going to be open at one point. So if pass rush can ever get to where we want it to be, I'm not particularly going to be sweating over the secondary. So that's my thoughts. Yes, I would love to have a perfect defense all in all, right? But unfortunately, with the salary cap in a professional sports organization, you're obviously going to have to make some sacrifices somewhere within a roster. Can Joey Bosa stay healthy? Can he make an impact on those like very integral third down attempts from opposing offenses? Maybe. Can Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones make it lock in? I don't know. But don't worry, man. We're going to be having some conversations. We're going to be having some conversations, man. And hopefully we'll get some answers at the end of the day. If Tre's playing safety, this wouldn't have happened. We have Hashtag Sports, man. He was saying, dude, he should have been safety all along. I remember that, Mario. I remember that you suggested that. And I suppose you're right. And so I suppose you're right, man. Look at that. Look at that. Charles is in the building. Is update on Tre White. I just came in. Where it stands, there is still crickets. We know nothing. I could imagine that it will likely be on the same timeline from when we heard about Maxwell Harrison. We had a well over 24 hours of sweating on the Maxwell Harrison situation. But that, of course, is it. Statement, can we move money around and realistically get Parsons? Parsons is not ideal. Parsons is less than likely because you end up looking at his contract. He's on his 5th-year option. I think his cap hit's around $25 million. If we were to make a trade, we would obviously need to extend him. A player like that at his age is going to be, 4 or 5 year extension from where he is right now. We could end up reverting his base salary down to where it's not crazy against the cap. But remember, he's probably looking for something that's in the ballpark of the TJ Watts of the world and Myles Garrett's of the world. Say that it's an average $40 million per year. And of course, depending on how much money is guaranteed, a massive contract like that for year one, it's probably going to be north of $10 million for the first year of the cap. And then as the contract continues to progress, it's going to be even more. So I think Micah Parsons, we're kind of priced out of that potential deal. Not unless Brandon Beane really wants to risk it, really wants to go for broke, if you will. There is one potential free agency acquisition that I would love. I'm not entirely convinced that it would be a reality because that player is currently on a divisional rival with the New England Patriots. I would love Kyle Duggar on this team. He was one of my favorite prospects in that year's draft. His current cap hit is at 15 mil. So we'd probably have to do some gymnastics in that category. But just would love a Kyle Duggar trade. Would love that. But again, like really outside of some bargain bin acquisitions, folks, I really don't see Brandon Beane making a splash at this point. Like he ended up using his money where I thought that he should have in the first place just by retaining some of our stars already. But I can say that I would be shocked if, for example, that we made a move for like an actual player in his prime. or really anybody above the bargain bin label, if you will. I'm worried, to be honest. The next morning, as we have not heard what the injury is in length of time, has me a little nervous. Yeah, I look at it like this. Like, we went through the exact same thing with Max Harrison a couple of weeks ago. Very similar timeline. Like, we're looking at about like north of 24 hours before an update. I'm not entirely sure if Buffalo is at all set to meet with the media today. Yesterday, I know that we heard from Sean McDermott. Typically, I think we heard from Bobby Babich the day before. Maybe we hear from Brady today, and that's not even really in his area of responsibility. Maybe Brandon Beane sits down. Who knows? But where it stands, and trust me, folks, I have been refreshing this screen like an absolute madman, hoping for answers just like you. But all I can do right now is just provide speculation what Buffalo could do, right? All right. So here's the deal. Typically, I would not be upset about a CB2 for a variety of reasons. What helped out the Buffalo Bills was that we were able to take the football away quite often last year. Quite often. And all of our leading contributors that brought that to the table have returned. CB2 last year obviously was donned by Rasul Douglas, and Rasul Douglas had 0 turnovers last year. So in all honesty, like, you really can't do worse than 0, right? So what is Buffalo going to do? Because I got to tell you what, there's something that I feel like a lot of people are going to be not particularly pleased with. But folks, as much as I know that you're going to be crashing out for hearing this, just accept the fact that Damar Hamlin is starting safety next to Rapp on week 1. I feel like we can accept it. Not unless Cole Bishop goes out there and has a generational performance against Tampa Bay on Saturday evening, which I'm probably not going to be putting my chips in the middle of the table for. I think we can all but accept that Damar is going to be starting next to Taylor Rapp. So what was encouraging to me was, hey, when we drafted Maxwell Harrison, regardless of where he was at his development, I liked his speed. His speed, in my opinion, was a quality insurance policy for some question marks we had with Hamlin in coverage. Because Max can cover a lot of ground, and so can Taylor Rapp. But now Max is gone. So then I started accepting the fact, well, like Tre White's film was decent, like right over at Baltimore. He's familiar with the Sean McDermott system. So I guess things could be worse. But now he's gone. So now we need to look at our possible options of who is going to be getting the call. Maybe it's Ingram. Maybe it's Dane Jackson. From what I understand, it sounds like Dorian Strong has been having a bit of a roller coaster training camp. Sometimes he's been good. Sometimes he's been bad. Maybe Buffalo ends up scooping the bargain bin, like right during free agency. Like, maybe we find it somewhat interesting. Maybe we bring in Rasul Douglas again, just to run it back. Or maybe we go full circle and we bring back Stephon Gilmore, who is still technically a pending free agent. Is that ideal? No. But what other option does Buffalo potentially have? I think that's kind of where I'm going with it. Shout out to everybody in here, man. 275 if you were in here, guys. 126 on YouTube, guys. Let's go on ahead. Let's run that like button up to 126 like buttons. We are growing a family over here on this beautiful YouTube channel. And I think for the past couple of morning shows, we've had well over 200, 250. And that's with everybody pulling their weight and hitting that thumbs up sign. Let's go on ahead and do that, guys. We are one big happy family over here. Let's see. Maybe Samuel can clear a physical. Look, so Asante Samuel Jr., that is probably the most puzzling free agent of all time. And I think the only thing that makes sense is that he can't pass a physical. And he has a very damning injury that teams are not willing to even roll the dice on. Because the guy has all but visited, I mean, God, how many teams has Asante Samuel visited this offseason? well over half of the league, it seems like. I know that's an exaggeration, but he's had quite a few visits. And the fact that somebody at 25, I think, like somebody that actually had decent film, like he's not trash or anything along those lines, his injury history must be very bad. Richie Fresh, $10. Shouldn't we go for broke, though? We are in year, 9 for 11. It just feels like we rely way too much on him. It's obvious, in my opinion. I bring up Parsons Hendrickson, even because I was shocked when we got Von Miller. So I'll tell you what. When it comes into like going for broke. So am I qualified and equipped of being the general manager of the Buffalo Bills? Indeed. But that's why I'll never get the job. And so I'm just kidding. As much as all of us would love to pull the strings for this organization, and look, I would agree with you, right? Like, why not go for broke, right? Because clearly, like, we've had a pretty good system of being consistent and going into the playoffs quite often. But why I'm always hesitant to buy into these like home run like speculations is because I feel like I'm just setting myself up for disappointment. All we can do when it comes into attempting to predict what this front office is going to do is just setting us up for disappointment. All we can hope for is that somehow they can make a complete 180 on their overall mentality. And one thing we've learned is Brandon Beane is typically a very conservative GM. Sometimes I think he gets a lot of shit. And I would like to remind everybody that each and every single offseason, we're pounding the table to make sure that we could pay somebody that we want to retain. And normally Brandon Beane delivers. Very rarely does he not. But it's just not in his DNA to do this. Beane is probably one of the most cap-conscious GMs in the NFL. And as much as I would love to do whatever I can to bring in a pass rusher like Trey Hendrickson, bring in a pass rusher like Micah Parsons, I feel like we can have a conversation about Micah Parsons as well. He's wildly inconsistent. He's just a name, in my opinion. Sure, like he'll give you a couple of games, but through the first 4 years of his career, during times when Dallas really needed him to step up in actual meaningful games, he was a ghost. I just don't see that being aligned with the behavior that we have seen from Brandon Beane in the first place. Hence why I try not to get myself excited of the possibility. It's kind of my answer, right? So, we shall see. I'm genuinely scared regarding Bishop's progress. People need to stop undervaluing the safety position. Go Bills. So I got to tell you what, I am typically all right. So I'm normally the guy that does have a pretty significant hate toward the safety position. I'm probably one of those people that looks at the safety position and I look at it as a very, like, not meaningless, but nowhere near as important. Probably like the lowest on the totem pole for me as far as importance of what is compromised or comprised of an elite NFL defense. Like, what makes an elite NFL defense, in my opinion, is a game-wrecking pass rush, some solid perimeter corners, and linebackers that excel in coverage. Largely because with each and every single year, you are seeing the average depth of target for QBs diminish by like 0.1 to 0.2 yards. What does that tell us? That tells us 90% of the time, most passes you're going to be seeing are 4 to 5 air yards, and they're relying on their wide receivers to create yards after the catch, pounding the rock. Maybe back in 2019, 2020, back when it was the air raid offensive era, then I'd probably say that safety was super important. Nowadays, not so much. And for all I know, like I said, and so I reserve the right to change my mind halfway through the season, but that's the trend of what we have been seeing. I'm typically not going to lose sleep over 1 to 2 plays that occur each and every single Sunday, especially with the point differential that this offense creates for Buffalo each and every single year. Like, that's not something that I feel is important to Buffalo. I think that Buffalo believes that the safety position is the running back position. I think that's how the NFL is looking at it as well. However, now that we have some question marks on the opposite boundary of Christian Benford, that changes everything. Like, that changes absolutely everything. As far as solutions, and so y'all heard me like say this, and I will continue to say it because I believe it to the most internal piece of my soul that Jordan Hancock is the best option for the safety running next to Taylor Rapp. I genuinely believe that. If Taylor Rapp goes down, that's when you're going to start to see me run around like the sky is falling. And I know that Taylor Rapp typically finds himself on the IR at least one point during the season. And so at least one point. But until then, I'm just not going to worry about it. I hope that they do the right thing. I genuinely hope that they do the right thing and they give the starting safety position to Jordan Hancock. It's likely not going to be week 1. Hopefully they eventually figure it out and they don him the starting safety by week 5, week 6. Me and my wife are driving 1,000 miles from Omaha to Buffalo for the Ravens game. I really hope they don't lose, but after all these injuries, I'm getting worried. Go Bills. Well, let me tell you what, epic G war. So one thing that should make you feel at least somewhat calm about this matchup is this. Historically, so the Baltimore Ravens have started very slow. And for the past couple of years, I think they've had like 0-2, 1-3 starts. They typically do that due to the fact that they have very limited reps for their starting offense during the preseason. I think once you account for the fact that they are going into hostile territory, they don't really have a lot of practice reps from the preseason. I think that automatically gives Buffalo a few pieces of advantages, right? And we did hear that Lamar Jackson, he did not practice yesterday. He did not practice 2 days ago because an offensive lineman stepped on his foot. Thankfully, he's okay. And so we don't wish injuries over here on this channel. We do not, right? Like, we are sportsmen, right? Like, we are we're a very honorable fan base, if you will. So we don't wish that on anybody, but it's something to monitor. And so will Lamar Jackson be somewhat limited? Will he not be anywhere near 100% due to his foot getting stepped on in practice? I don't know. But I have a feeling it's going to be a close game. And say that we do get past Baltimore. And so I'm not willing to give my prediction just yet. Please stay tuned for the following week. Or 2 weeks from now. But I do like our chances to make it interesting. Helada, Montana is in the building, man. You love to see it. 184 of you are on YouTube, folks. We are sitting here trying to plot a path for the improvement of the Buffalo Bills secondary. Anxiously awaiting Tre'Davious White news. Will Tre'Davious White get it going? Sorry, guys. And the hubby called. I had to answer. No problem. We have Johnny Thunders in the building. No, Jackson is fine. X-rays came back negative. They are just being careful. And that's great to hear. And so it really is great to hear. But sometimes when it comes into soreness, you still need to ask yourself, right? Like, will he be at 100%? And the fact that he had no preseason reps either is something to monitor, especially since for the past couple of seasons, Baltimore has started slow. So, like, that's just something that we're basing off of history. And again, folks, we all reserve the right to change our mind once football is actually played. But we shall see, and I will reserve my prediction until the time is appropriate. Relax on Bishop. Terrell Bernard had the same start to his career and turned out just fine. We have Kelvin Shepard is in here. So here's my thought. So here's my thought on Bishop. Yes, I did hear Bobby Babbage say that on the podium. But I will come out and say, what else is he supposed to say? Right? And I'm not suggesting that I don't agree with him, that I don't see that there is somewhat of a comparison. But I think this could go one of two ways. He could get the Bernard treatment, and then maybe he ends up stepping up to the call and he starts making plays. But say that you guys are ever hoping that he could really develop into an incredible coverage safety, it's not going to happen. Like, that's not why he was drafted. He was not a good coverage safety. In college, he's a downhill safety that's great against the run. He's hard hitting. He's more of a strong safety, right? Rapp is better in coverage than Cole Bishop. In reality, like, what would be ideal is once Taylor Rapp ends up sort of like missing this roster and like, look, we have this year and next year with him. I think he might even deserve to have a brief extension after that because he is like really the athlete and player that makes a safety room go. I feel like Cole Bishop is in a much better position to play a role like Taylor Rapp plays for this team. So if we're all hoping that he can develop into a great coverage safety, it so his experience in college is just not translating. So that's me. Maybe he does take the exact same path as Bernard, or maybe he takes the exact same path as Kyer Elam. I'm not so sure what that is. I don't think that Buffalo drafted him to be a coverage safety or somebody that's just going to like be serviceable there eventually, but that's just not who he is. So, I mean, listen, let's see. Hopefully I am proven wrong. So I'm not surprised in Parsons or Hendrickson at this point. We have pass rushers. We just need to see it in the game. LFG, Dan the Man, Fabian, what up, man? How you doing? We have thoughts on Kyle Duggar. He is on the way out of New England, might get cut. He's probably available for trade. Good box safety who could probably transition to outside linebacker too. I love Kyle Duggar. Love Kyle Duggar. I really, really do. He was my draft crush a couple of years ago. It was 4 years ago now, which is insane. Loved what he did over at Lenore Ryan's small school in North Carolina. He is a Swiss Army knife. He's pretty solid. I would feel pretty comfortable with him being added to this defense because he provides so much. He's a quality special teamer too, by the way. The problem is I'm not entirely sure that New England would release him because I've tried looking at his contract to see what we could potentially do or what it would look like for the Buffalo Bills. But right now, New England doesn't even particularly have an out on his contract until the following year. Say that they release him, so they take $14.5 million in dead cap and $9 million the following year, right? And some people say, oh, well, so that's money already spent and they shouldn't care about that. It's very similar to you going out and making a major purchase and throwing it out like 1 week later, right? And granted, he's been on the team since the extension for the past 2 years. So the whole dead money thing, maybe it doesn't matter to us, but I can guarantee you it matters to GMs. 9 times out of 10, if you were seeing a number like that in dead cap, that's basically like wasted money. It's no different than you like buying a vehicle cash for like $30,000, you driving it for like maybe 6 months and just giving it away for free, like nothing, right? Many of us would be pissed off because we wasted a shit ton of money. That's how NFL GMs look at all of this too. I would be shocked if New England just wanted to walk away from him. They're probably going to try to trade him. If Kyle Duggar is available, I got to tell you what, it's going to be pricey for the Buffalo Bills because we are going to be paying the in-division tax. Would New England, would they be willing to pay a position? Would they be willing to send a player over to Buffalo where they know that's top on our priority list to improve? It's happened before, I suppose, especially league-wide, but rest be assured we would pay for it. Right there, we'd have 2025 savings, $10.7 million would probably go to our cap right now. And folks, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure we're like maybe at around 1.7 million. We could restructure Deion Dawkins and add some coin, but I feel like it would be expensive. I would be curious to see how Brandon Beane would potentially be able to finesse it at the end of the day. Is there any update on Hancock's shoulder? He needs first team reps. Noah's coming in, man. Dude, you know what, man? You know ball, my friend. You know ball. Because let me tell you what, that has been my biggest take all season. I have been pounding the table. I have been spreading the propaganda. And I hate using that word because that would insinuate that it's false. It is not. In my opinion, Hancock is the best suited, at least in the short term, to be playing safety next to Taylor Rapp, if you were to ask me. But again, what do I know? And did I hear right that Hancock had to have surgery? Maybe it was something else. I could be wrong. I did not hear that, but you know what? Let's double check some things. Jordan Hancock injury. Let's see what X has to say about JK. Okay. Based on how Jordan Hancock hit, he got more or less kicked in the shoulder because he went so low. He had the tape on that shoulder prior. You can see the tape poking out below. It looks like he had it taped up like it was an AC joint sprain. He avoided serious injury. So according to Banged Up Bills, sounds like it perhaps is an AC joint sprain. I'm not particularly sure how long that is, because obviously I am not in the medical field. AC joint sprain timeline NFL. Let me see what Solid Artificial Intelligence has to say. 1 to 2 weeks for a grade 1 sprain, 6 to 12 for a grade 3. Let's hope it's just a grade 1. And if that means that he's able to go out there week 1, perfect. But would Sean McDermott trust him in potentially going through with that? We have not seen Bishop with the full ones yet. When you play with garbage, you become garbage. So respectfully, I've seen him with the ones over at Utah, right? Like, he's a hard-hitting safety. He's quality against the run. Coverage, not so much. So especially in deep zone situations. But look, maybe he ends up doing it. Maybe Sean McDermott ends up giving him the nod. I'm interested. I hope that I am proven wrong, but my optimism for Cole Bishop is dwindling by the day. I can't wait to see Shaq Thompson and Dwayne Carter. William Dinkins is in the building. Look, I got to tell you, man, Shaq Thompson for me, and us just going back to the depth chart real quick, I am very excited to see what he can do. As far as something that should make us feel good about depth anywhere on this team, Shaq Thompson was a great add to this squad. Yes, he's been suffering from some injuries. Yes, he's old. But I can tell you, as far as a well-rounded running back with Shaq, this guy excels in coverage and in run defense. He's still highly athletic. He was a household name over in Carolina for quite some time. He can play ball. He's familiar with the McDermott system. That's what he got into the league with, was under Sean McDermott. So when you look at a linebacker room that is historically known for missing a couple of players, I feel a hell of a lot better about Shaq Thompson filling in. And this is a guy that's so versatile. He can play the mic and he can play the off-ball linebacker as well. Like, that's the kind of guy that he is. He's good in coverage. He's good against the run. He's super athletic. He is a screen destroyer, which is ideal. Many of us know that we haven't been able to effectively stop the screen since the Obama administration. So having a player like this as an insurance policy, if Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard were to go down, and look at that, we have Terrell Bernard listed as questionable already. I love the way that that looks. I really do. Shaq Thompson is my guy. Carter, man, dude, I love Dwayne Carter, man. I do. He's my Instagram buddy, man. We follow each other on Instagram. But God. Yesterday, we ended up having a group discussion. So right over at the Bills Roundtable. And we started talking about the defensive line. And while I say Carter's going to make the squad, when Larry Ogunjobi comes back and when Michael Hoyt comes back, there's going to have to be some sacrifices. Like, who is going to make the squad for the first 6 weeks of the season, and who are the 2 guys that are more than likely going to be cut? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But Beth, no, I did not see any update about injury, which is ideal. Bill is coming in. Something has to change. Maybe the training staff needs to be evaluated again. So I think it might be too early for that because they are literally brand new. Last year, we ended up having an epidemic with wrist injuries. How much you want to put that on the training staff, I suppose it depends on who you talk to. And trust me, look, like, we are not the only team that's going through with this. If you look at the Philadelphia Eagles injury report as well, same exact thing. I'm pretty sure, in fact, I saw like a novel of players that were on or attached to the Philadelphia Eagles plate. So it's not just Buffalo going through with this, folks. I can assure you that. It feels like that each and every single season, but that's largely how it is. Does get enough to get the job done. We have Kebby is coming in. This training staff might be worse than last year. What is the difference? None. So the difference is that the Bills are dealing with a lot more soft tissue problems. Last year was more like permanent injuries, right? Or like lengthy injuries. That's so much the difference, but like it's so hard to draw a conclusion when we haven't even gotten to the regular season so far. And folks, as much as we would like to say it, and so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knock on wood right now. It's better than 3 or 4 ACL tears, right? And so I'm not sure about you guys, but I would much rather have 9 to 10 so 9 to 10 soft tissue problems than 2 ACL tears. So that's good. And knock on wood, let's hope that we don't see that this year. But it's just the nature of the game, man. I'm not sure if you play Madden, Dan. What do you think about all the low ratings to a lot of our players? Bernard at 79, Kincaid at 75, so many more. And do we see our players higher than the rest of the world? Yeah, I mean, I think it's natural when it comes into any specific fan base. We obviously show a lot more love to homegrown players. 75 and 79, I think, is a tad low, but luckily they have an opportunity to show the hardworking men and women over at EA Sports that they are sadly incorrect. And the Giants went and got their own Josh Allen like QB in Dart, but I like him though. So I got to tell you what, man, I typically hate like when I see somebody go out and say, "Oh my God, we got the next Josh Allen." We heard about Trey Lance a couple of years ago. We heard about Drake May every now and again. And now we're hearing about Jackson Dart. And I got to tell you, and I'm not saying that he's the next Josh Allen, okay? Because I believe that Josh Allen was an absolute anomaly. I really do. Him being able to improve his accuracy seemingly overnight going into year 3 is unprecedented. Like, you just don't see that. So when I hear people say, "Oh, yeah, like we need to give that quarterback some time because look what Josh Allen was able to do from year 2 to year 3," folks, I got to tell you, like that's something that even the brightest minds so within the globe are still trying to figure out how he was able to accomplish that. I'm not sure if you guys saw Space Jam, like maybe Josh Allen ended up stealing Cam Newton's powers, like right. So within year 3, but there's still no real answer on how he was able to really take that next step up. So when I hear people say, "Oh my God, he's the next Josh Allen," I'm like, okay, come on. But I will tell you, based off of Jackson Dart's preseason so far, he's probably had the most like the Josh Allen-esque performance. He's a big dude. He's not afraid of contact. So he can dance around the pocket. He's made some great throws in tight coverage. And granted, it's preseason, so I guess that we're going to have to see. And that's even if Jackson Dart does ultimately end up getting opportunities with the first team this year. Say that I was the head coach of the Giants, I would probably have Jackson Dart sit for the entire year and learn and make him full systems go by 2026. But we have to remember that Brian Dable's seat is hot as shit. He's probably going to be desperate at some point. And if Russell Wilson goes out there and like dude gets his cheeks clapped, I don't know. I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing Jackson Dart a hell of a lot sooner than what we're saying. You know what I mean? Go Bills. Can't wait for week 1. You and I are on the exact same page. If our pass rush becomes good/great, Hamlin and safeties are kind of irrelevant. Folks, that is absolutely correct. That is absolutely correct. I am a big proponent that a quality defensive line always elevates an average secondary, but an elite secondary never elevates a defensive line. If you want your defense to really hit home, folks, if you want your defense to really, really, really hit home, it's the pass rush. It's always the pass rush. It's not the secondary. But can the Bills live up to that? Can we get to the quarterback? Can TJ Sanders be a guy that really elevates this squad? Can Joey Bosa be a guy that elevates this squad? That's a different conversation. Dan Marino thinks Dwayne Carter has no business on the roster. Dan Marino, the former Miami Dolphins QB? Come on, baby. It sucks that both Tre and Max are out, but they still have Taron and Benford. They'll be about, so to make do for a bit. And so I would also like to reach out to Razul about joining the practice squad. I mean, it depends if his ego will allow it, right? I just think it's time to move on from Poyer. He can be a mentor without signing him. Oh my God. It just seems like every year, so our defense is decimated by injury. See, it is. But like, here's the deal with me, Bill, right? So the continuous problem for me is not finishing and getting to the quarterback. So the real problem with the defense last year was the fact that we were the 27th ranked third down defense in the NFL. That was the key problem. Right? And look, so I love injuries, but who remembers that one year when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers completely embarrassed the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, right? Why did they embarrass the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Folks, I got to tell you something, man. So their secondary was not very impressive. It was their pass rush that got into Mahomes' head. I like the secondary over in Philly, but they did not sniff the production that Philly's defensive line put out on the field each and every single game. It's all about the pass rush for me. Hopefully the moves we did this offseason will be able to assure it, right? I'm not sure if you play Madden, Dan. What do you think about all the low ratings to a lot of our players? Already got that one. Peter's coming in. They're a middle of the road with number of injuries. They've been exceedingly lucky on the season enders. Nothing to do with the training staff at all. Ants Pants is in the building. I know we have essentially no money right now, but do you think Brandon Beane would make a move for a safety? Safety, no, but I do think that if the Tre'Davious White injury is maybe as serious as some of our pessimistic minds are leading us to believe, I feel like a CB2 could potentially be interesting. Maybe a reunion with Razul Douglas. It's not the best. Maybe Asante Samuel Jr. If, for example, we wanted to roll the dice on somebody that more than likely has a very concerning injury report, that could also be a conversation. But I feel like now all we're doing is we're just hoping that we could figure some things out here. With the Bills' current safety situation, and do you think the Bills made a mistake in letting both Poyer and Hyde go? And do you think that they should have kept at least one of them? So I think Poyer's 34 years old, right? And so I think Poyer's final year in Buffalo, you could start to see signs of him not being anywhere close to what he was during his prime. You definitely saw it in Miami. And toward his back past couple of seasons with Buffalo, he was typically on the IR. So I think it kind of came to the best ability is availability, right? I'm not particularly sure if like he's been staying in shape. He probably has. He's still a pending free agent technically. Say that Buffalo is desperate perhaps, but I don't know. As far as tread on the tires, I think that might be one of the last resorts that we can get. Roundtable talk yesterday was good. Too much Jerry Jones talks, though. I can't keep giving that man what he wants, and that's Jerry Jones, hearing everyone talk about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys or not. I think you're discussing Fourth and Forever, my friend, which is great. We'll do a little shameless plug over here for all of you that are curious. So, guys, we have a couple of YouTube channels that I think you are probably going to be interested in. Number one is the Bills Roundtable. It is myself, it is Zbot, it is Kevin Masari, and it is also Bill's Bunker, Jake, right over here. We ultimately ended up having an episode where we talked about the Tre'Davious White injury, and we also ended up predicting the 53-man roster, hot takes all around the board. That channel is linked in my description. We are live Mondays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. EST. I really hope that you guys can put that on your calendar, or at the very least, you can go on ahead and you could watch the replay. Say that you can't ever watch it live, but it's a solid show. So the chemistry is building. We have great roundtable discussions each and every single Monday and Thursday. Highly recommend that you guys go on ahead and check this out. Following that, I'm really trying to blow this show up, baby. I'm really trying to blow this show up right here for you guys. It's college football roundtable, man. I'm a big college football guy, and so is my buddy Jay Tuck on the Roundtable Sports Network. And we have been talking college ball Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. So if you were an SEC guy, if you were a Big Ten person, if you're Big 12, or maybe you're just trying to get a feel for some of the prospects that are going to be entering the 2026 and 2027 NFL draft and get an early start to it, highly recommend you go subscribe to this one too. We have solid show over there, and then I would love each and every single one of you to check it out. And then last but not least, I'm sorry for all the plugs right here, folks, but clearly you are football aficionados and you want to be entertained all season long. So I'm giving you options here. All I'm doing is showing you the menu. It's up to you whether or not that you want to eat. Roundtable Sports as well, folks. We have our daily show. It's called Fourth and Forever, your daily NFL news show, where we chop up everything that is happening around the NFL by itself. Am I the busiest man in show business? Perhaps. But I strongly encourage that y'all end up choosing from the menu of quality content all across the board. I'm dead set on keeping you entertained no matter what we do. You have the garage. I think we can get to 1 million. Not sure if you can add something with a Bills fan daily gallery to complete the family engagement. I do have a garage. To be completely honest with you. And I have a Garage Beer flag. Shout out to Garage Beer for being a proud partner of this show as well. You guys are probably familiar with the Garage Beer hotline. And so I'm probably going to open that up tomorrow morning for our Bills and our Buccaneers preview as well. But yeah, man, I'm going to have to continue to do that. So the Utah boys, not the best starts to their career, Bishop and Kincaid. Indeed, man, it's tough. It's tough out there. Stuck made. So the Hard Knocks curse causing all of these injuries. So I'm really not buying much into a Hard Knocks curse here. No, it's not the Hard Knocks curse. We have injuries, yes, but not nearly as bad as most other teams. Yeah, guys, again, right? So I feel like context is important. Several teams across the league are dealing with like season-ending injuries, right? Like surgery, out for the season type thing. And so we just have a bunch of soft tissue shit and sprains. And I mean, maybe I spoke too soon. We're going to have to see if our good friend Tre White is okay here. But here, you know what? Let's just double check. Okay, we got John Scott. He's coming in. One guy right on the roster bubble is Dorian Strong. We saw that. Pizza logs. Okay. So not a lot of updates coming out of Bills camp right now. Not a lot of updates coming out of Bills camp. And Beth B comes in and says, 83 likes. Come on, Mafia. Let's do better. Smash that like button. Yeah, guys, for sure. Listen. And so at the end of the day, say, for example, that you enjoy rocking with me each and every single morning. Maybe you use me as some white noise while you're going about your workday. Or maybe you're running errands in the car and you're trying to speed the time by. Thank you for tuning in. And so I'm so glad that you are able to leverage me as somebody that can pass the time during your day-to-day responsibilities. All I ask is, say, for example, that you're into it. Just do me a favor and hit that thumbs up sign. It propels it out to the YouTube algorithm, helps me out tremendously, and it introduces this show to more Bills Mafia fans that perhaps want to stay informed and also be entertained, man. We want to make sure that we have the most consistent and largest live chat community on the planet. So make it happen. SS. Maybe it's a strong statement right here. Dan, it would be a show if you did not make Bob earn his hefty contract. You know what, dude? I feel like you're correct on that. I feel like you're correct. All right. Bang, bang, baby. Bang, bang, man. Have Bob. You know what, guys? Let's go ahead and open up the Garage Beer hotline. Let's see what people have to say. because there's obviously some things that we need to discuss on the channel. All right, folks, thanks to Garage Beer, we would not be able to have this hotline. This hotline provides you an opportunity to come in and tell me what is on your mind about this team, something that is burning deep into your chest, whether it's a question, whether it's a statement. And do keep in mind, I like to treat this like a radio show. So say, for example, that like we keep it at about 20 to 30 seconds. Let me know what's on your mind. I'll do my best to get to everybody. And yeah, thanks to Garage Beer, this is entirely free. And say that you haven't tried Garage Beer, ladies and gentlemen, man, please pick yourself up a case and let me know what you can do. All right, call in the Garage Beer hotline. Do not be shy. Come on in. Let's talk a little bit of football. Hit that thumbs up sign for me as well, folks. It's as easy as we know. Dan Mitchell used to be a cage fighter. Don't expose me like that, man. Don't expose me like that, my friend. All right, anyway. Welcome in, folks. I saw you hitting Bob and had to rewind, thinking I missed Tre White out for the season update. No. It was not, man. People just enjoy me watch it. Many people just enjoy me beating the hell out of Bob. Like, that's really all it is. And that's okay, because Bob was paid a pretty hefty contract. As many of you know, toward the beginning of training camp, he was holding out because he wanted a new deal. All right. We reached an agreement. And damn, is he going to earn it? We have Dwayne is in the building. Dwayne, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm living the dream, man. No complaints. What about yourself?
Heck, just another day. Look, I think you're being just a little bit hard on Cole Bishop. I think we haven't seen him with a full number one team. When your line doesn't get home fast enough and your linebackers aren't doing the right job, things break down at the safety position. We really have not seen a full number ones, and I think we will this next preseason game, at least for a drive.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait and not be too hard on Cole till I see him with the number ones and how he does with the number ones.
Yeah.
Because another point being is if you put Bishop next to a number two or in a couple cases a number three safety, and there's zero communication between the safeties, and then you have a number two, number three linebacker, inside linebacker on top of it, who's not really communicating with the team. Yeah. There's just too many breakdowns. I saw Cole Bishop's one play where he broke down just a little bit, and it was a one safety deep play, and we don't play a lot of one safety.
No, so, and for good reason.
I just hang up now and hear your thoughts on my feelings on that.
Dwayne, I appreciate the call, man. And shout out to all my mods as well. Dwayne being the lead mod in here, he keeps the peace. Keeps the peace over here. He keeps the peace as well right over at the Bills Roundtable. So here's my thing on Cole Bishop. I want to be optimistic about this player, right? But I think my thoughts are really aligned with his practice reps, with his ramp-up reps. And unfortunately, he just hasn't been there. And Bobby Babich, of course, did make an interesting point not too long ago where he said, look, like, I'm looking at this timeline. It's very similar to Bernard. Can he possibly follow that same path? Can he be the guy? What I can tell you is that I'm not particularly sure that if he does get the starting nod, that Sean McDermott is going to have him up in the box and be asked to run man coverage, because that was the play that Dwayne was talking about during the previous preseason game where dude got twisted like a pretzel. Like, dude's ankles were like sent to the multiverse. As long as Buffalo runs the too high shell, and that's largely what a lot of NFL defenses are doing. Many people even argue that the too high shell has ruined the NFL, has ruined the air raid attack, has ruined that high flying offense in the past. You can scheme out average safety play. You can. As long as you have quality coverage in your linebacking core, you have a quality slot corner, in which that we do. I feel like we don't discuss how great Taron Johnson is to this defense. I feel like we don't give him enough love. Yeah, dude, listen, I'm super optimistic. I'm trying to remain optimistic about Cole Bishop. Will Sean McDermott give him the nod for week 1? I suppose that's remained to be seen. I'm still just trying to prepare everyone to see Damar Hamlin roll out there next to Taylor Rapp on week 1, but it is what it is. Hey, look, man, he got a pick against Lamar last year. Did he? So did it look like Lamar thought that Damar was on his team? Absolutely, because there literally wasn't a wide receiver in that zip code during it, but an interception he did receive. And by the way, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure Damar Hamlin has the exact same career interceptions as Sauce Gardner. All right, so put some respect on Hamlin's name. I'm just kidding. Mike All is in the building. Mike, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, broski? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm living the dream. I'm trying to at least. How about yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. I just wanted to come here and talk some Bills. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk some ball, man. What's on your mind?
I want to talk about two things specifically. Real quick, I think that people need to kind of give, like, people are looking at Bobby Babich as if he's been a defensive coordinator for like years now. He's as much new to this team as Cole Bishop is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is gonna bring in a new era of this strong McDermott defense that we have looked at for the last 9 years, the one with the Micah Hyde and J Poe combo, and bringing in like a Matt Milano. Well, he comes in and we're bringing in people like Jordan Hancock, TJ Sanders, Deion Walker. We're like building this new era. The young players. Christian Benford is still pretty young. He's going into his 4th year. Terrell Bernard the same. I think Cole Bishop he just hasn't had actual playing time to make the quick decisions that he needs to in the biggest moments. Doing it in practice is not like you can say, oh, I did it in practice all I want. Doesn't mean you're going to do it in a game at all.
Yeah. It's a solid take, man. Dude, look, like I said, I'm trying to make sure that I stay optimistic with the guy. So I think my biggest thing is not so much his ability, but it's like, when is he going to ramp up with this ability, right? Because how I look at it is like he missed all the first training camp. He missed most of the second training camp, and that's no fault of his own. Like, he's not going out there hoping that he gets injured. But so I look at especially a McDermott defense, and knowing McDermott, like, he wants to make sure that these guys are ramped up and have those practice reps right before he gives them the keys to that position. So it's not so much that I don't think that Cole Bishop is capable once he reaches his ceiling, but I just think it's unfortunate because I don't believe that he's on the way to his ceiling because of all the reps that he's been missing, and I don't see Sean handing him the keys until he gets there.
Yeah, it still might be like a DeMar start for a few weeks. It kind of like the way Mick Harrison's progressing, and probably like a little bit quicker than that, but still missing a little bit of time maybe. Yeah. But then I wanted to, first of all, I'm happy James Cook got his contract. I don't know how specific if you are like, on the fence on that one, but I believe that he deserved at least $10 million and he got it, and I'm happy for him. The hypocrisy of whether he should have gotten the money is ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, how so?
It's, he has 16 touchdowns last year, right? But those are short, like a lot of those are short yardage touchdowns, right? We're going to call it like within 10 yards. But then on the other hand, those same people are complaining that Josh's tush push was taking away all the touchdowns from the running back. So is it he's getting a bunch of short yardage touchdowns, or Josh is taking away all the short touchdowns?
Look, you know what, man? Like, especially when it comes into contracts, it's just in the nature of like most NFL fans. It's not just Bills fans, right? Like, people act like it's coming out of their pocket.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, oh, damn, man, we're paying them $30 million. I'll work hard over here, man. I bought a jersey 3 years ago. They better not do that. Really, when it looks at the contract, man, I really think that it was the best of both worlds. And so I do think that like he was able to at least foreseeably get to that $15 million per year, at least in his head. Because he has about $30 million fully guaranteed, and there's technically an out on his contract, at least financially, by year 3. So I think it was the best of both worlds. It's larger than Kyron Williams. right? It's nowhere near Saquon Barkley, which was a big issue, to a lot of fans. So it's hard for me to find anybody that could be upset about this contract anymore.
Yeah.
Like, really.
Hot take, he's as good as that guy. He's as good as a Barkley, a Henry. The only difference, he's not on the field as much. So look at the production he has with only 40 to 50% of snaps.
Yeah.
You add an 85% snap share to that. Look at his what could his numbers be?
It's true, man.
Well over 1,000 yards, 16 touchdowns.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. He got his deal, and so I'm hoping that he can increase his production from last year.
Oh, yeah.
Time indeed will tell. Mike, I appreciate you, man. It's always a pleasure talking ball with you.
Nice
and
talking
so I hope
to you,
he's
man.
calling a bit more often, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
man, thank you, brother. Dude, shout out Mike All, man. Shout out Mike All in here, dude. He's doing his thing. He is doing his thing. Man, we got Only Dans. Oh, someone was asking about my OnlyFans. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Last video, I filled Bob up. Shout out to everyone that was watching Fourth and Forever yesterday. That was the inside joke, or was it an inside joke? That's a different question. Thank God for this call. We have Deshaun in here. Look, guys, look. You know what? I'm just glad that the James Cook situation is over with. And yeah, look, like we are all concerned about our defense right now. But at the end of the day, I feel like that we need to do, in the words of Pierre Kingpin from Buffalo Fanatics, sometimes I feel like all of us need to remember who exactly we have at the helm, baby. People are just like, we can't keep asking Josh Allen to do it all. Well, I got news for you, folks. He can. He can do it all. And he could probably do it all for the next 3 to 4 years, baby. Once he starts showing some regression in his ability to make plays on the ground, and he doesn't go out there metaphorically hanging sack on a bunch of NFL defenses each and every single week of the NFL season, you're damn right. Should we ask him to do it all? No, but if we need to, we know our boys deliver it. We have the MVP of the league right here, folks. We got a guy that is no stranger to carrying this organization. We got a guy that averaged 30-plus points and on his NFL schedule last year, which I got to tell you is a hell of a lot more difficult than last year. So remember one thing, all right? My goal is I at least want to inspire some of you to run through a wall with what I just said. If any of us are concerned about the defense, injuries on the side of the football, remember the dog we have under center. Remember him, ladies and gentlemen, and remember the arguable genius that we have calling the plays. I think we can all agree that Joe Brady is indeed a genius. And hopefully we could see a bit more development from Bobby Babich. But then again, who knows? And you know what? It's interesting because someone brought up Bobby Babich. I want to say it was Mike who said, you know what? He's a brand new defensive coordinator. He's obviously going to be getting his lumps. So here's the issue. I don't particularly recall a defensive play call that was the cause of our woes last year. I think a lot of our defensive woes had a lot to do with the personnel that we had out on the field. Injuries, obviously, right? So I haven't particularly seen a lot of bad play calls from Bobby Babich, more so poor execution, and that obviously can be boiled down to lack of personnel injuries. Excuse me. So, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to expect. And say that we get past Baltimore, folks, with a W. And so with a big, fat, hairy W, got to tell you what, it's smooth sailing for quite some time, man. It's going to be a good season. It's going to be one of those stress-free seasons. Folks, wouldn't it be nice? Like, wouldn't it be nice week one? We sit down on our couch, or maybe you guys are watching the game and you have Dan Mitchell on your computer screen because you want to hear my play-by-play. I certainly hope that that's the case. And we go into the game all nervous, but by the first quarter, we see Buffalo go up by 3 scores, 21-0. And we're just sitting there with our feet up. I got the garage beer hotline open. We got people celebrating over at the chat. And so I'm giving play-by-play while the caller is giving color commentary for about 45 to like 60 seconds. Damn, wouldn't that be a dream? Wouldn't that be a dream, ladies and gentlemen, if all of our prayers were answered? Good God, that's beautiful. We have Pierre's going to be primed and lit for the Ravens game. Makes me want to rip my shirt off and shotgun it. Yes, yes, a garage beer. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Shout out to Garage Beer. We're in the building. Beth, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. How are ya?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. It's actually been a really interesting morning. I feel like I need to share this with you guys. So last
Perfect.
night, the place that we moved to, it has like an acre backyard right in the city, which is awesome. I love the wildlife and everything. So we
Awesome.
ended up finding a baby raccoon last night and reunited it with mom, which was really cool this morning.
Cool.
And then about a half an hour later, I look over on the side down the street, and there's a homeless guy sleeping underneath one of the trees bordering my property. So it's been a very eventful morning in the homestead here in South Buffalo.
I was about to say, you know what? Welcome to the community, it sounds like. What a welcome.
Yep,
When does school start for you? It's got to be starting soon.
it does. It does. So our teacher meetings actually start next week. I have to report in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then the third is the official start of school for our Catholic school kids.
Great.
Buffalo Public, I believe, starts on the 4th. So my oldest will start on the 4th when he goes back to school.
Okay. Got it. Got it. You
Good
know, that
stuff.
sucks summer vacation's over for him. I remember that was one of the saddest times in my life when I was a kid.
Yeah, I
But
think it was the saddest time for all of us, but that's okay. Football starting. We can be happy about that.
absolutely, it's great. It's great. What's on your mind
So,
about the Tre'Davious White thing, secondary, the whole nine?
well, with Trey, I'm a little concerned only because it's the morning after and we haven't heard anything. I mean,
Mhm.
usually if the injuries aren't that bad, normally we hear something by either later on in the night or even early the next morning. Hey, he's walking around, he's doing okay. I'm a little concerned that we haven't heard anything yet. I feel like they're trying to cover something up.
Mhm.
Looking through the team pictures too, because they are traveling today, I haven't seen Trey in any of the fit checks or anything. So I'm a little worried that he didn't travel with the team either, which leads me to think that the injury might be a little worse than what we might all think.
Mm.
Um, so a little
Yeah.
concerned there, little concerned.
Mhm.
I mean, Trey's, he's not new to the injury bug. He's been bitten by
He's
them
not.
before. He knows how to take care of his body. So I'm not overly concerned about him coming back. I just want him there week one. And I need to know how bad it is so that I know whether he's going to be on the field week one and we have that solid second person next to Benford, or
Yeah.
if we're going to be rotating around guys like, Dane Jackson and Cam Lewis and, because we
Yeah.
don't have in there. I'm a little worried about that. Not gonna lie.
Ingram as well, especially with all of the concerns
Ingram,
we
yeah,
have in the safety room, right? Because like I was okay with the safety room, obviously, because we had Max Harrison, who was fast, he covered a lot of ground, and then Tre White, who's familiar with the system. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's a non-issue. But say that it's Dane Jackson, say that it's Ingram. I feel like we really need to have Bernard and we really need to have Matt Milano step up in coverage, especially at that like second level.
absolutely,
And we'll
absolutely.
see what's going on. Like, really, like, all we can do is really just guess on what Baltimore's game plan is going to be on week one. I'd probably
Yeah,
say it's going
well,
to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry, right?
oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. Well, they're gonna test our pass rush. That's gonna be the first thing they do because our pass rush is what killed us before. Now
yeah.
we've bolstered that line for sure, and I do think Bosa being on the line with Groot, we're gonna see a different kind of game out of Groot this year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we saw it when Von Miller got signed here, and we saw Groot's game take another level. I think it's going to take even further, another level further with Bosa now, giving his tidbits. And I mean, Groot still soaks things up like a sponge.
He
He's
does.
not a vet player that, just, oh, this is my game, this is how I play. He will take those pointers from vets that have been seasoned longer than he has, which I really, really love about Groot. This is why
Mhm.
he's one of my favorite defensive players. He's
Yeah.
not afraid to take those pointers from guys who have done it for years before he did. And
Yeah.
Bosa is a great person to take that from because not
Yeah.
only is he getting it from Joey Bosa, but you think Joey and Nick don't get together in the offseason and work out? He's
Of
getting tidbits
course.
from Nick too and doesn't even know it.
Yeah.
Like that's huge.
So one thing that I love about Joey Bosa, and something that's not even particularly on the pass rush side of things, and something that I think is going to be very important on week one, he is tremendous against the run.
He
He is
is. He
tremendous against
really
the run, and so is Groot. So when I look at the potential of having Derrick Henry running the football, now our question is going to become: can Daquan Jones step up like rate as that one tech and be
Right.
able to attack like the middle of the line or the A gap and the B gap, because I think that might be the plan, especially since I think that's going to be their game plan, is really to pound the rock, at least at the beginning, because Lamar has had no preseason reps whatsoever. So I think that's probably what their strategy is going to be, at least for the first like few quarters. But
Yeah, I can.
man, I'll tell you what, if they can really limit that issue and then cause Lamar to make some mistakes toward the beginning of the game, I do like our chances. And that's even with the injuries on defense. Really.
See, and I agree with you. And I think the main goal with Baltimore is you have to get into Baltimore's head early. If you can get
Yep.
into their head early, you've won the whole game in the very
Mhm.
first or second quarter. But you got to get in there
Yep.
early, and that's
Yep.
just it. I mean, I think people are also forgetting. Not to extend my call even further, because I'm sure you've got other callers, but
No problem.
with Baltimore, the last team they played in any season game was us in the playoffs. So they literally just lost to us, and now they're playing
Mhm.
us in our house again, game one of the new regular season. They're
Yep.
going to come out with, I mean, everything. They're going to throw everything at us. So, I mean,
Yep.
yes, I know it's game one. I know week one, everybody kind of plays a little bit reserved usually. But
Yep.
I don't think it's going to be that case with Baltimore. They're going to come out swinging, and we had better match that energy and then some, or else
Oh,
we're
yeah.
we're going to be water. We have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I am looking forward to it, guys. We are a little less than, well, actually a little more than 2 weeks away from Sunday Night Football. I cannot wait. Beth,
Oh,
and so I
it's a
appreciate the call. Right as always. I'm so glad that you were able to reunite that baby raccoon with the family. And best of luck with the homeless man as well. So,
Well, the cops took care of him. He's good.
all right.
So yeah,
Perfect.
have
Perfect.
a great one, guys.
Hey, you love to hear it. South Buffalo, man. South Buffalo. That was my neck of the woods back when I was a baby. And so I lived on Crystal Street when I was a kid. I lived on Crystal Street when I was a young buck. Look at that. Look at that. We have Light of Truth in the building. Step into the garage, my friend. How you doing, Steven?
Hey, good morning, Dan. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. We're just trying to find the answers for this Buffalo Bills secondary. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say, I don't know if you saw the post I put in the chat earlier, but as far as your situation with your driver's license,
Yeah,
well, you know what? They may suspend that or whatever, mess with it, but they can't mess with your license that takes you to One Bills Drive.
you're
So,
right. You are right, my friend. Luckily, I was able to figure that out. My license was suspended for a little over 24 hours. If you ever move out of state, folks, make sure you return your old plate or they will get you. All right?
yeah,
They will get
definitely.
you. $400 later, I'm a legal driver again. Look at that.
Now a couple things. First of
All right.
all, yesterday on Shope and the Bulldog Show, WGR 550, they were interviewing Sal Capazio,
Mhm.
and he was talking about the situation with Tre White. And what he said was that, because he was there. Okay, so White actually walked down the tunnel and then walked back, but ultimately he was carted off the field on one of those carts. So he said he does have concern. I'm going from memory. I think he said he may not be traveling with the team, so they'd be out there now
With
for the
that track.
game.
Yeah.
And so, that is a big concern, especially with the situation we've already got at safety. The other thing I wanted to mention is Sal did mention there was some fights that broke out in the Bills training camp. And I think one of them was where Terrell Bernard hit uh, I'm trying to remember the tight end's name.
Was it
Uh,
Hawes? Was it Knox? Kincaid?
Kincaid, yeah, hit
Okay.
him, I guess, pretty hard. So they
Damn.
got into it, and then somebody else was getting into it too. But I just want to say that, guys, come on, man up. You don't need to be getting in fights, friendly fire. I mean, it's bad enough when you have to deal with opposing teams like that, but let's keep things together because I got to tell you, going into this first game of the regular season, my hopes are very high, even with all the situations Buffalo's dealing with, because they're at home. It's the last season there. They're going to have the whole Bills Mafia rocking the stadium, backing our team. We've got to remember that the coaching staff has not put all their playbook out there during the preseason, and they're dealing with these issues. But I think Buffalo is going to come out and really surprise the whole league with this whole game, a whole game. I think it's going to be a really great game, probably a very close scoring game, but I think ultimately Buffalo will prevail in this. I've been saying this to send a message to the league that says we're here, we're the team to beat, and we're going all the way this year.
For sure, for sure. And so I can tell you that you and I are on the same page, and it does get exhausting. It definitely gets exhausting trying to convince people because really on paper, folks, as far as our key contributors last year, all of them are returning. So with anybody that's out here thinking, oh my God, by the way, the Buffalo Bills have the 5th easiest schedule in the NFL.
Right.
Anybody has the spine to tell me that we need to anticipate a regression from last year. Where are you getting that from? Where are you getting that from? We have the reigning MVP returning. We have a top 3 offensive line, and that's potentially even being conservative. I could say a top 2 offensive line in this league. We've improved on our defensive sort of side of the ball or the defensive line. Yes, we have some injuries on the secondary, but at that same time, this secondary that everyone is so concerned about was top 5 in turnovers last year. So it's exhausting that some people are walking into this season with the energy that we are going to be significantly worse from last year. At the absolute minimum basement floor, I see this team matching their production from last year.
And Dan, along those lines, let me just make one more quick comment. I was absolutely shocked last night at the comments from Tony Dow in your roundtable because, I mean, everything he was saying was just so out there. I mean, to say at best they're going to end up 3-3 in the AFC East. The AFC East is a lot stronger, and the Bills are going to end up like Cincinnati last year, 9-0, 9 wins at best, and not even make the playoffs. I mean, that's just crazy.
So I got to tell you what, man, I wouldn't take anything Tony Dow says seriously. This is a trend of his for the past couple of years.
Right.
So I think it's boiled down, Steven, to I think this is just his desperate attempt for manifestation. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
so we'll forgive him. He's going to be feeling really sad, I would say, probably about by like week 7, week 8 with his Miami Dolphins, where he ultimately ends up accepting the inevitable. But yeah, I wouldn't put too much weight into that conversation, man. He has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, and let me say this, the manifestation you just mentioned there, well, the manifestation is going to have to man up when he sees what the Bills do this season.
That's exactly, and it's even more beautiful that he's going to be witnessing it in person on week 3 while we're in the stadium by itself.
Right.
Hey, right. Steven, I appreciate the call as always, man. Great insight as always from my buddy Steven right there calling in, rabid Bills fan. Loves having his conversations, man. I can appreciate that. Beth B, I'm not counting us out at 17-0, 20-0, really, because we're winning the Super Bowl this year. That's the positivity I need, man. That is the positivity that I need. Then gets let down by the end of the season. It is Groundhog's Day for TD Fins Talk each and every single year. And for those of you that have grown familiar with TD's work for the past couple of years, it's a movie that I do not mind rewatching over and over and over again, right? Like some of us have that one movie that we could watch over and over and over again, and it never gets old. Mine is The Town. My God, I love that movie. I would probably also relate TD Fins Talk's YouTube channel. That's something I could watch over and over and over again in the month of August each and every single year. And then you fast forward to November and December when reality strikes. It's a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. It's a repeat TD movie. We have, hey, what's up? We have a Kansas City Chiefs fan in the chat. What's going on, my friend? Hope all is well. And so I have a lot of those movies, Dan, and TD's YouTube channel is one of my favorites. And the Bills are good for at least 13 wins this year, and the rest of the AFC East teams will top out at 6 to 7 wins. Yikes. Yeah, honestly, I could care less if we win or lose in the preseason. I mean, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure the Kansas City Chiefs are 0-2 in the preseason too. Not many people are sharing the same sentiment with Kansas City as they are with Buffalo. But hey, you know what? Sometimes you need to get all fan bases excited, at least at one point during the season, and can make a comedy skit out of TD's takes. If it were to happen, we're going to have to see. Philip, we're going to need the Mafia to show out week 1. We already know it's going to be there, baby. We're at home. What do you think about player development? So the players that have been promising so far, I like what TJ Sanders has been putting out on the field. I think that he's going to be close to a day one contributor with his limited snaps. I think largely he's going to be rotated out with Ed Oliver. Maybe on passing downs, I could see Ed Oliver and TJ Sanders. Like, dude's a great pass rusher. Very good from the interior. He's going to be a star on this team. I am all but convinced. Very high on Jordan Hancock. So the guy that I think that has had the best camp like so far is 5th rounder from Ohio State, Jordan Hancock. I would love for him to get the nod for starting safety week 1. Yes, he has a sprained AC joint. But I would not be surprised, say, for example, that like he ultimately ends up getting the nod to being a starter for this team sometime in the near future in 2025. I'm really into it. Dan, I got an awesome SS for you on Discord. And remind me that this is how we will look after week 3. Man, I like that. When he's not delusional and it don't have to do with the Dolphins, he's got decent takes when he is serious. Absolutely, man. So I feel like a lot of us can already admit that he plays a character for the most part. And so I think you guys have picked up on that. I couldn't call today, but question, who is on your cut list? Ooh, who's on my cut list, man? Right now with injuries, it's hard to say. Because some of the names that I had circled of players that I could potentially see gone might be making the roster now based off of where we stand from a health perspective. Typically, I had Dane Jackson as a potential cut because Dorian Strong had a pretty strong first half of the training camp period, and then I'd say second half was a bit more of a struggle. So I could see Dane Jackson potentially, but he's basically a lock. So due to our current situation, I'm trying to think of any surprise cuts. I'm really not seeing a surprise cut right now, and that really has everything to do with how our team is looking. We will see. So do you miss the Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs duo? No. So like how I look at it, man, is that like when Diggs and Gabe Davis were gone, so we ended up having the best offensive season in franchise history. So we never historically had a better offensive season than last year. And that was with Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis being gone because Josh was able to spread the football around a little bit more. It was more difficult for defensive coordinators to plan against us. So while Josh is playing at the level that he is, I don't particularly think that it's necessary for us to have like a star-studded wide receiver one that's eating up like 15 to 20% of our cap. Maybe once Josh starts regressing as he gets older, like he's not going to be able to make as many plays. So he's not going to be able to make as many plays on the ground. Like when Josh can't run anymore, that's when I'm going to be okay with targeting a wide receiver like early right in the like first round of the draft, or I'd be fine with us making a blockbuster trade for a receiver. Why Diggs was important at first was just because Josh was still developing and he needed training wheels to become the guy that he is right now. Like now I feel like Josh would be fine if me and you were the wide receivers for the Buffalo Bills, to be completely honest with you. And that's depending on if you can route a fool up. Can you route a fool up? That's the question. I love it. I love it. Matthew's in the building. Step into the garage, man. You're supposed to be in school, fool.
I am.
Yo.
I don't get to call in as often. I'm at lunch now.
Oh, you're at lunch right now. He's calling in from school, man. Holy hell. Is that allowed,
Bro? They've been on our ass. They've been on our ass about these phones. I can't listen. So I've been.
So
I just joined a couple minutes ago.
Cool. I like that, man. What's on your mind?
I just want to say what's up. I'm I mean, again, I think we'll survive. Like our offense will be putting up enough points, and our defense isn't horrible. Again, like as long as we have a top 15 defense, we should be just fine.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
still worried about safety and cornerback. Again, we still have Christian Benford. We still have people on the cornerbacks, so I
Yeah.
think we should be fine.
All right. Yeah, man, most definitely.
What
Like we're gonna have to make some decisions with this preseason game. It's just a matter of time.
I was thinking about going because I live in Florida. I'm thinking about going up to Tampa for the game, and then I'm going over on Sunday to a Rays game. But then I realized I'm taking the SAT on Saturday. So,
Oh, dude. Well,
but,
best of luck on the SAT. Yeah, well, best of luck on the yeah.
well, I'm gonna go sit with my friends and go eat some food. So, see you,
All
Dan.
right, dude. You enjoy your lunch, man. We'll see you. Dude, talk about dedication. Talk about dedication to the Garage Beer Hotline. He's calling in from school, baby. School lunch. Shout out to my boy, Matthew. He's always tuning in. He's doing his thing. Happy Friday, Dan. And so our secondary options are making me nervous. I'm just saying, Rose, I feel like the vast majority of us feel the same way. Let's just hope our defensive line can cover for the question marks that we have in that room. Hopefully, Tre'Davious White has only suffered a rolled ankle. Of course, Buffalo is doing their best to make us as anxious as possible. But again, what makes me feel somewhat better, I guess, is that we had a similar timeline to sitting and waiting on the status of Maxwell Harrison. So I feel like all we can be is optimistic, and perhaps the Baltimore Ravens will do what they always do toward the beginning of the season and start the season slow, because Lamar Jackson has not particularly had a lot of preseason reps, and us predicting that Baltimore starts off rusty for at least the first couple of quarters. In fact, that's actually probably like my biggest key to the game. And this is a spoiler because obviously I'm not going to be giving full spoilers, a rate of my prediction. But here's my hot take. So whatever team starts the fastest wins. And so whatever team has some semblance of a slow start is done before the game even begins. That's my thought process, at least. We have Josh is coming in saying, Dan, you're so hot. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. We have David in the building. David Hernandez, welcome to the garage, my friend. How you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, man, loud and clear. How you doing this morning?
All right. So I'm doing really well.
Good.
I'm a secondary Bills fan. My family Bills fans. I'm more of a Giants fan myself, but I wanted to hop in here just because I've seen a lot of the stuff happening with the Bills. The injuries kind of piling up a little bit here and there. I'm a little concerned, I think, about the secondary. I don't know why they're not addressing the safety room as heavily as they need to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's like a double-edged answer. Number one, we are broke, right? Like we're 32nd in the league for available cap. So I think we're at about like $1.5 million. I suppose we could make a couple of moves. There are a few players that we could restructure, one of which is Dion Dawkins. I think we'd save close to 10, so maybe that could give us some room. But I think Brandon Beane is attempting to save that piece more toward the trade deadline. Last year, while the defense did end up having its share of gaffes, typically due to injury, we still had a couple of games where we held teams to single digits. And I'm not saying that that makes me comfortable, but I'm assuming that that makes Brandon Beane comfortable. He's looking at our defensive line and he's saying, look, last year we couldn't get to the quarterback. Yes, we have an average safety room. Yes, we're running thin at the CB2 position, but maybe, just maybe, our defensive line additions like Bosa, Hoyt, and Ogunjobi, when they come back from suspension, and TJ Sanders will be able to carry the load. And it wouldn't matter if our secondary is struggling because we're going to be getting to the quarterback in less than 3 seconds. Maybe that's going through his mind, but it's definitely a concern, right? Thankfully, so when I look at Buffalo's schedule, once we get past the Ravens, or once that game is all said and done, I really wouldn't identify a single challenge on this schedule maybe Atlanta. Like some people were really high, like on Atlanta this year. Not so much myself. But the next challenge, in my opinion, would be Kansas City. So I think it's going to be really telling once week 1 is here in just a little over 2 weeks.
So, like, do you think Cole Bishop is just not progressing? Like, what have you seen throughout training camp? Because obviously, like I said, I pay a lot closer attention to the Giants on a daily day, but the Bills, I want to see what's going on with them. Like, what is going on in training camp? Is he just not taking advantage of his opportunities? I've just been really surprised that I'm not hearing more about him.
Yeah. So Sean McDermott is really big on making sure that all newish players and rookies get their ramp up reps and their practice reps right before he hands them the keys to a specific position. Last year, we saw Cole Bishop miss virtually all of training camp, and this year he missed the vast majority of it. So when I look at Cole Bishop, man, like he's not going to be the type of guy that's going to excel in coverage, right? Like in college, he was more of your downhill safety. He's a good tackler. He's a hard hitter. He's good against the run, but like he's never really been a coverage guy. He never was. So I think what the plan was Cole Bishop was going to be the answer to Taylor Rapp eventually once he was off this roster. And I think Sean McDermott is not in a good place where he trusts Cole Bishop due to the reps that he has missed through his first 2 years. Like we've already seen it because we tried putting him out there week 6 right against the Houston Texans last year. And the only play that I remember from his 2024 season was him getting absolutely burned by Nico Collins over the top. Last weekend, he got twisted like a damn like pretzel right in man coverage when he was asked to come up out of the box. So I just don't think McDermott trusts him yet, is my answer.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And does it look like Andreessen's going to get a bigger role, or is he kind of shaky? I know he played a lot of preseason reps, but
yeah, dude, listen, he is a key special teams contributor to this team. He really, really is. He's incredible against the run. He's a quality backup, like linebacker, like more so at Mike. And so I don't particularly trust him as an off-ball linebacker. He struggles in coverage, and so does Dorian Williams, but great special teams contributor. He's definitely making this team, and right in a pinch, I do feel like he would be able to step up, but he would only be able to be second on the depth chart to Bernard, say that he were to go down. And I really hope that Milano would still be healthy, and say that Milano is not healthy. I hope that Shaq Thompson would be the guy that's running next to Andreessen, because we at least want one guy out there that's good in coverage. And Dorian Williams and Andreessen, especially in coverage, would be picked apart like nobody's business. But yeah, man, listen, I'm a big Buffalo Joe guy. He's one of our best special teamers, and he's quality depth.
Well, man, I appreciate your time and having me on here. I just wanted to shout out Joe Andreessen as someone who's been a part of Western New York wrestling in the past.
Hell yeah.
Really shout out to Joe Andreessen, man. That kid's a savage. So I'll pass.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, dude. Shout out to Buffalo Joe. Shout out to David Hernandez for stepping into the garage. The Garage Beer Hotline, man. Listen, we love this over here on the channel, and so I appreciate all of you. 589 of you in here, 283 of you rocking with me this morning. Thank you, guys. We've been talking a variety of different topics, and I love each and every single one of it. Hancock looked good. I remember Cole Bishop had an interception taken away from him, and the refs gave the ball to Worthy in the AFC Championship game. It's funny how history only remembers the winners, right? Because I forgot about that. And so I forgot that Cole Bishop was the pick guy during the AFC Championship, but it is what it is. All right, folks, that's going to have to do it for another edition of the Don Mafia Report. But right before I let you go, folks, got to tell you what's been weighing on my mind, my fantasy football draft. In my fantasy football draft, folks, I'm clearly going to be the league winner, and it has everything to do with RotoWire, the #1 draft kit on the market today. It is your assistant general manager during your draft. You end up plugging in your sleeper, your ESPN fantasy, Yahoo fantasy, whatever the hell that you use. And RotoWire holds your hand throughout the entire process, allowing you not to make any decisions with your heart. And it challenges you to make the smart decisions round by round. You can make your own customized draft plan with RotoWire. It gives you some of the most in-depth analysis and data points from every single player that comes across your board. Right here, you'll see I am Team 6. I feel like the answer for me is CD Lamb, and it's always been CD Lamb. Go check out RotoWire, folks. I promise you, if you want to take your fantasy football season seriously and you don't just want to piss away $100 to $150 to get in, it's very important to be prepared. And I got to tell you what, I've been obsessed with this platform. And if you were to download it and use my code Dan for 15% off, you'll save 15%. And then you might as well just schedule a text message to me in November or December thanking me because you are going to be playing for the championship thanks to this tool that I have provided for you. Shout out to RotoWire for being a proud partner of this channel. And again, guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in, showing love. As always, smash that like button, and I will see you here in just a couple of hours for Fourth and Forever. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.